Hello, hello. Thank you for joining me today. So today I'm going to be doing a little card for you. This is one of the new design sheets. So you have your topper section at the top and some little decoupage and fuzzy cut roses at the bottom to play with. So just a quick and simple card for today. I'm just going to take my trusty old guillotine. Chop that down. There we go. So I've got that chopped down, and I am going to I'm just going to grab my Versacolor 91 Gold, and I'm just going to distress around the edges just to add a little bit of vintage gold around the outside. It's lovely and sunny here today. I hope it's nice where you are. Just gonna come into the design a little bit more. There we go, a little bit more pronounced. And the thing with this, a little bit more in the corners. There we go. A little bit more in this one. As we're just starting out, just doing this, then just a little bit by little. You can always go and add more, you can't take away, so just take your time and build up your colour. The thing with this gold is it's lovely and shimmery as well, so hopefully the camera will pick up. And then I've got this gorgeous glitter card which I'm going to be using, so I'm just going to measure that up by eye, and I'm just going to trim that down so it'll actually fit in my trimmer. This card is 9 inches wide, so it's just that little bit too wide to go in the guillotine as it is. So I'm just going to pop that down. Nice little border, making sure it's nice and straight at the top, it's lined up. There we go. And on this side, could always stick this down first if you find that easier. There we go. Get rid of those little bits. Right, now anyone who's used a textured glitter card knows that it's a nightmare for actually holding adhesive. So it's, you can pop double-sided tape on or tape pens, and what will happen, it will peel itself off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop some dimensional foam tape all the way around, and this one's just a cheapy one. The one they usually get in the dollar store or the pound store, and I use it just for spacing out. You get multiple rolls, so I don't have to worry about how much I'm using. So make sure they're all stuck down nice and well, and then peel back the tapes. You can tell it's from the cheap stores because it all doesn't come away when you try and take it off, but that's fine. It's just going to give a little bit of lift on the card, and you'll see in a second that it'll stick a lot better. So I hope you're all liking the new format on the website. I've spent so many weeks prettifying it up and trying to make everything a lot easier for to find. So when you go onto the website, if you look across the top, there's little sections, there's little grey areas. So it has on toppers, digikits, sentiments, decoupage, fussy cuts. Pop them all into little sections to try and make things easier for you to find. So hopefully you like the new format. So just to give it an extra hold, I'm going on top of the foam tape some of my hot melt glue, and then this will give us a really strong bond onto the glitter card, which normally defies most adhesives. So there we go. And I'll eventually be matting. I've ordered some 8x8 cards, some card blanks. I'm just waiting for these to come. So the whole thing will just mount straight onto the card blank when it comes. So I'm going to take my little roses. Now these are great for making really simple cards. I have some really pretty sort of embossed papers to use, and I also have some, let me show you, just received all of these gorgeous Japanese papers. It's all different colours in there, so I'll be working with these as well over the next couple of weeks, and they'll create most of the foundation of the back of the card. And then I'll just be creating little sentiments and then be using fussy cut flowers just like these roses to add depth and dimension to the cards. So I'm just cutting around the outside of the petals. There is no rules with this. You are the artist, you are the card maker. It's up to you what you want the finished design to look like. So you could, when these are cut out, I do love these snips. They make cutting out so much more enjoyable, and it's a lot easier on the hands. I have dexterity issues, so after a while cutting out's quite painful for me. So using these snips means I can cut away for hours quite happily. I have these ones which are really old. I also have some Martha Stewart snips. They all do the same thing. I tend to use the Martha Snips ones for paper, and these are a lot more heavy duty, so I tend to use these when I'm working with card. So I'm not being too precise. As you can see, there's no black edges on these. They're all very watercoloured and muted, so they're quite forgiving. It doesn't matter if you get it exactly on the line or not. So, working on top of here, what we're going to be creating is, to do it as normal, you could pop your foam pads in between and create a decoupaged rose. So just literally sitting on top of itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll this in the hand just to create a little bit of bevel on it. There we go. As you can see, that's just creating a little bit of shadow underneath, a little bit of interest. I'm just going to pop some more hot glue on just to make sure this definitely sticks down. It'll also create a little bit more depth as well. So just going in, don't have to be too precise. There we go. Now the next layer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut into the design. I'm going to cut into that petal, follow the little line around, and I'm now actually creating my own decoupage by doing this. So same again, just roll your finger around. All you're doing is creating a bit of shape on the rose so it's a little bit beveled. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add up that layer as well. As I said before, I was hoping them card blanks would have been here by now, but never mind, you still get the idea. Once this is done, I'll just pop some double-sided tape on the back of here, just peel it off and then mount it straight onto the card. So we're going to go in with this layer. These are so quick and easy to do. There we go, and because you've put the hot glue on, you do have a little bit of time before it sets, a little bit of wiggle room just to make sure you've got it in the right place. And then I'm going to create another layer even still. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut into here, and I'm going to go all the way around here, and I'm just going to cut in and make a little rosebud. As I say, you could keep them all the same and add them on. I just think this adds a little bit of interest. Right, so for this I'm just gently moulding it around my fingers, just to create that little bit of bevel. And then this is my top layer. Now, I have a lot of people ask us why I love downloads so much. There's so many reasons. I think when I started selling cards, handmade cards at fairs and events, having my own designs to work to, or having a set of designs that I had on tap all of the time, meant that I could create a library for designs and access them anytime I wanted to, but it didn't actually take up a lot of physical space. Whereas I had drawers and drawers of stamps and dies and all your normal stash. It was nice to have a set of designs that if somebody ordered one, I could replicate this over and over and over again. So I meant in the Etsy shop, I could sell this card, show a picture of it, but then somebody could come along in 6 weeks and order one I could just make on demand. It makes it a really cost-effective way of crafting, so you don't have to have millions of cards up, because once you have quite a few, you need somewhere to store them, so it can be a bit of a nightmare. So all I'm doing is going in with a little bit of green stickles onto the design, just to add a little bit more detail, a little bit of texture. And all I'm doing is I'm just drawing over the centre line of the vein in the leaf that's already there. So yeah, when I used to go to the craft fairs and people used to ask, oh, have you got this type of card or that type of card? I used to be able to show them all of the cards that I've made in the past, knowing for a fact I had everything in the craft room to be able to make more. So it was just a very easy way of working. So I'm just taking the stickles round, and all I'm doing is I'm just following the shape of the rose, just outlining each of the petals, and I'm even going to go around the outside. And I just keep turning the design around to make it easier to work, easier to see. And it's just so delicate. And another reason I liked using the downloads was when you start making cards to sell, one of the biggest things that people struggle with is how much to charge for them. And I think it's a struggle that everyone has. I think we undervalue our work so much. But the thing with downloads is, if you look at the last card that you made and you add up all of the supplies that it cost to make that card or project or whatever it was. There's a lot of investment in supplies, so you need to sell as many as you can to try and recoup some of the money. With the downloads, that's the reason I try and keep the price as low as possible, because I know what it's like. So you buy a download and say it's £180, it's one of the design sheets. You've always got that download sheet. You can print it off and use it anytime you want, and you can make as many cards and sell as many cards as you can with my designs. So some designs I like making are quite challenging, quite detailed and decorative. So I've gone right round the outside, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull some of the glitter through, like little veins in the petals. So some of the designs are quite simple, and some of them are a little bit more labour intensive. And this is one of the tools that I used to specifically do to try and make some of my money back. It's very expensive to do craft fairs these days. By the time you've paid for your table and insurances and advertising. So some of the cards look as though they've taken a lot of time to make up, but they've actually been quite quick in the process. So what I do is I even out the price of my projects, whereas some of the cards that I've spent hours making, I could never charge the full price that I would really like for them, because you wouldn't get the return. So what I do is I share some of the cost between the cards that have been quite quick to make and the cards that have taken a little bit more. There we go, so there's the rose done. And then all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pop in some of my usual, my little, there we go, my little dots. And I've got a combination of the Decoupage pearl effects and the Ranger liquid pearls, so I'll be popping some of those on, just to add a little bit of detail. I love parchment craft, I absolutely love it. But unfortunately my hands just can't hack it these days. It's just too much for them. So I like doing this because I think it's the nearest thing I'll be able to create the same effect as my parchment. You get the same effect when you use your pricking tool on the parchment paper. Yeah, little white dots. You could use a white gel pen, but I just think having the dimensional aspect of these works really well. So the thing with the design sheets as well is, if you get a custom order and somebody says to you, oh, I need a card, and it's my niece and she goes to ballerina classes and she loves dancing, can you make something for me? And you don't have anything already in your stash for a ballerina card. It can be a real investment to buy a ballerina stamp to make a card. You're not going to get any financial return off that because of the cost of the stamp or the die or whatever it is you've got to make it. With the download, it's just a much more cost-effective option. And the thing is, you know exactly where it is, it's saved on the computer. And the next time you come to make one, that design's already paid for itself, so to speak. And the thing is, you can't have every card you've ever made with you at the craft fair, so it's nice to be able to show people the past catalogues and different designs that you've done. So I'm just going to go in with a very, very few little pink ones, just to bring the colour through. But as I say, I'm not going to add a lot, just a little, just to bring through the colour. So if you ever have somebody say to you, can you make us a card for something you don't have in your stash, then let us know. I might be able to design something for you. I've had some really interesting requests over the years that I love because it challenges me when I'm in my design work. So I was asked for, and she'll laugh when she hears this, I've been asked for some sassy chickens and some goats, some cowboy boots. Then last week I was asked for some Jubilee designs. That was quite challenging to do, but I love doing it, so please don't be afraid to reach out. So there, we're just about finished the design. Quick and easy. That was just over 20 minutes, and then that'll be popped straight onto the card blank when it comes in. So I hope you've liked this little video. If you would like to have a look at this design sheet, I'll pop the details below so you can go and have a look. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.